Hello and welcome to Las Blancas Podcast.
Welcome back to a new episode of Las Blancas. This is the first episode of 2026. So I just want to wish everyone, I know it's pretty late. We are in mid-Jan, but hey, whenever you see someone new in the month of January, I think you're allowed to wish them a happy new year. And yeah, so happy new year to everyone listening. Hope you had a good one. Uh, so yeah, I mean, Real Madrid were back. This has been an eventful sort of start to the year in the 15 days or so that we have had. Both the women's and the men's side have had some really crazy time, especially on the men's side with Xavi sacking and everything. But there's enough content talking about what happened, how it happened, and why it happened. So we'll focus on the women's side of things as we always do. Uh, and we played two games in short span. We had Sevilla, first of all, at home, and then we had Athletic Club as well, which was again at home. Uh, and it has been a mixed bag so far. Like the first two games of the year have been two sort of drastic performances, and it also showed us some of the pitfalls of the approach that Quesada is taking with the youngsters. And we'll talk about all of that. And to do all of that, to I've got Kanita with me for this breakdown as always. Kanita, how you doing? How has 2026 been for you so far?
Happy New Year from me as well. A bit late, like 2 weeks late, but who's counting? And these two games were in such a short span that I had so much things to do for uni that I was legit surprised on the day of the athletic game. Like we're playing and this never happens. I'm never surprised by the Femenino schedule. I always know when these games are, but not this one. I was genuinely surprised a few hours before the game. So yeah, I genuinely thought it would be like similar to the game against Sevilla. I know we won 2-0 against Sevilla. And I also wrote you in the chat, probably the Athletic game will be similar. I was basing off the last game we played against them 4-1. We won on San Mames. But yeah, it wasn't like this. I was super wrong, and this is why I love football. I love being wrong. It makes things fun, spice things up. So yeah, I mean, never bored really with this club especially.
And we'll get to the second game, why sort of we expected it to be a pretty easy sort of thing to navigate and get those 3 points on the board again in this year, but it didn't work out, and we'll get to that. But first, let's talk about the first game, which was pretty interesting, a pretty bright start to the year. And you what you want, there's this whole superstition as well, right? Like what happens on the first day, or what happens, let's say, on the first game, that's how we want to continue our entire season. That's how your calendar year goes or whatever. But first game against Sevilla, 2-0, straightforward win. But the players that always shine for us, Linda Caicedo and Caroline Weir, absolutely balling. Like, absolutely balling. Caroline Weir, sensational game. Linda Caicedo, brilliant once again. And it looked like, okay, now this is a very settled sort of team now. We have our two key players, both fit, both performing, and then we can rejig a couple of players here and there, and we can put in a lineup. Especially like if you see our lineup against Sevilla, we had some rotation in the back line. Bella Anderson started that game. You had Sarah Homegaard as well starting as the left back, and then that midfield three of Angel Dahl, Dabrets, and Caroline Weir. it was just spectacular. We dominated from minute one till the end. We were all over them, and it was just a great watch, like Atenea doing well. It was Redondo doing her part as well. So it was a collective performance and it was a collective win sort of. So I was pretty excited for what's to come in this year, because we did not have the best of starts in the season, but over the course I think we have made good road. We have done some good work there, like we discussed in the previous pod as well. There have been positives from Quesada regarding how he manages the squad and how he manages the youth players. So there were good things to look forward to, and that is what like we were doing. That's what I expected after that win over Sevilla. But yeah, I mean, before we move on to why it did not turn out to be that way in the second game itself, what were your thoughts on that Sevilla game? Like, it was a straightforward game, like you mentioned earlier. But what were your initial thoughts after that game and after that performance from Weir and Caicedo?
Yeah, so aside from Linda and Weir, just doing their thing, but yeah, I mean, I'll just have to highlight the first goal with that Weir assist, with how she got the ball from
Yeah.
home guard, and then she got it and she turned and then passed it to Linda. So, chef's kiss goal, the whole thing, amazing. And I love to see also Atenea intercept that ball that was a mistake by defender for the second goal that she then assisted. But aside from that, I noticed something interesting. So quite a few times, and whenever we'd see Linda and Atenea start, I'd always mention them switching sides sometimes, and this time it was really fun because when they would switch sides, when Atenea would switch to the left side, Linda would then be at the centers on the left side still, but in the center with Alba, and then Eva would be like a wing back, and that was like a really fun thing. Eva would have that entire right flank on her for herself, and we've talked about how she feels free like that, and she's really fun to watch as well. And you mentioned Atenea doing well, and with the Alba and Linda in the center, in the very forward of the line. It was really interesting to see that. So that happened a few times throughout the game, and yeah, it was a fun little refreshment. And yes, I mean, we saw that first goal coming from home guard, and we she started this game, so it was a good thing for her as well, to see how she initiates an action. So yeah, it's always good. And yeah, I was like really after this game, this athletic game should really be as this one, but it wasn't. It really wasn't. So yeah, let's get into the athletic game.
Yeah, I mean, the first game was like you start all the senior players, all the first choice players, and then they do well, and then the youngsters come in. If you look at the subs from that Sevilla game, you have got Irune, you have got Iris, and then you have got Paula Comendador as well, along with Sheila. But like three youngsters coming in after the experienced players have settled the game, and then those youngsters getting to express themselves on the pitch. Fast forward to the second game against Athletic, and you know we've been saying that we expected it to be an easy game. It is because Athletic haven't been having the best of seasons. They've been struggling a lot in front of goal. They don't have any reliable goal scorer. They had Agote sort of scoring recently for them, that sort of helped them gain some points, but quite frustrating team defensively as well, because like if they have only scored 17 goals, they had only like conceded that they had scored 16 goals before that game, and they had only conceded 18. So like they had a very solid defense, a pretty rigid one, and very difficult to sort of break as well. If you look at their recent games as well, there was a 0-0 draw against Barcelona. Then there was a 2-0 win over Madrid CFF, 1-0 win over Levante. So like they had 3 consecutive clean sheet, and if you include the Copa de la Reina game for them, that was also a 3-0 win. So like 4 consecutive clean sheets. And even before that, if you go even 3 games back, they had another clean sheet against Eibar and had conceded only 1 goal in each game against Real Sociedad and Granada. So like it is a team that is, sort of frustrating to play against. And we saw the other end of the spectrum of, Quesada's choice of starting or giving opportunities to a lot of these young players on a consistent basis. Now, if we would have won, probably we wouldn't be having this discussion, but this is a part of like growing pains when it comes to the youngsters, right? Like you look at that lineup against Athletic Club. I'll quickly go through that. It was Misa in goal, Sheila, Rocio, Maria Mendes, and Yasmin as the line of 4, and then a midfield 3 of Irune, Angeldal, and Caroline Weir, and a front 3 of Eva Navarro, Iris, and Atenea. So a pretty different lineup. Eva was starting as the right winger when she has probably made that right back position her own. Irune was starting at the base of the midfield. Yasmin was back again into the lineup after Sarah started the last game. So, like Iris, Eva in her natural position, Irune at the base. There were again like a lot of opportunities for the youngsters, as Quesada has done throughout the season. But I think this game showed the pitfalls of that approach. Won't you say, Kanita?
Yeah. So I just want to add one little thing. You read through the whole recent games by Athletic, but one fun thing: the last time they lost was against us, and was in October, on October 12th, and since then they haven't lost any game.
Yeah.
And they won against us now, so their streak continues. I think this is the 9th game in a row where they didn't lose. So yeah, I mean, kudos to them. And this is the first
Before
time.
that game, before their last defeat, they hadn't won a game
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
league.
yeah, I
Like
know.
they had 4 draws and 3 defeats, including that game, and since then they haven't lost a game. So
Yeah,
quite a turnaround. But I think most of that underperformance at the start of the season was related to their struggles in front of the goal, where they
yeah.
don't have anybody to score goals for them.
Yeah, it is definitely like they were at the bottom of the table for such a long time from the beginning of the season, and then they just started collecting these points. So they're in the 7th place, I think, right now. So interesting, yeah. But yeah, this lineup was very very interesting. I mean, I don't know, because next game is against Levante, and then we have the Super Cup after that. So maybe like Levante was more of a like a um rotational game more than this one. So I don't know. But I don't know what was he thinking actually. It was a bit weird. I mean, sure, the defense was normal. She is not the regular on the right back recently. It was Eva mostly, so I was surprised to see Eva on the right wing this time. But I don't know, like when during the games, like from the first half, I noticed that whenever our backline had the ball, Athletic didn't even try to get the ball from them. They would be back into our midfield and overload the midfield. And it was full of Athletic players there, and it was really hard to get the ball through or do like anything we were trying to do. And it was like I don't know. It was so unexpected. I don't know. It was so weird to me. And the way they scored, it was after 3 consecutive corners, I think, after they didn't have a corner a whole game. And those corners they did were also very interesting. I don't know if you noticed the way they took their corners, that they went further away from the far post, when like even farther than the far post, and then in the moment of taking the corner they would go back in, and
To attack.
it was so interesting. I don't know, like I don't remember when I saw that ever, like very very weird. And the subs didn't feel like, I don't know, didn't feel logical. We were discussing before we started recording, and you said he was following the game. It just didn't feel natural. I don't know. It was our midfield just disappeared. Nothing happened. Like he were just putting attackers in. He even brought out Shea. Well, he subbed off Shea for Alba. Then it was so weird, like that this especially that sub, I don't know, it was so weird. And obviously in the first 3 minutes Nanclares got injured, and then their substitute goalkeeper debuted, right? So Olat Santana, and she had a marvelous game. It was a debut of her dreams. She had such good saves as well. So it was on her that we didn't manage to score either. But it was, I don't know, it was like just not meant to be in this game. I don't know. Like I knew that um defense is usually very chaotic, but they are very good, and I've been saying that for such times. Sometimes they concede some weird goals, but in the last 9 games, they've really proven themselves. With only two conceded goals, and it's crazy. Like they didn't let us through. We had so many attackers on pitch, none of them could have scored. So I don't know. Like I just get it over to you, honestly.
At one point on the pitch, we had Paula Comendador, Alba Redondo, and Iris, both, like
Mm,
all three of them. And if you look at, like, it was out of desperation because we were chasing the game. We did not want to drop points. So we just had all of the players just put onto the pitch. And then we did not have any sort of right flank towards the end of the game. Everything was channeled through the left hand side. Redondo was at the top, then Weir was there, and it was Linda Caicedo as well in there. So, it was like, imagine having Caroline Weir, Sara Debritz, Iris, Alba Redondo, and Paula Comendador, like all these five players on the pitch at the same time, and then you have a returning Toletti to try to somehow manage that all, and give them freedom to sort of play. But yeah, I mean, it was out of desperation because that goal also came like in the second half. It came in the 65th minute, so we had a little bit of time, but like we were chasing the game. So I think that really highlighted maybe the not the best in-game management, but also, like, interestingly, it was sort of what I've alluded to before as well, that it showed the pitfalls of this sort of approach. uh when you play youngsters, when you trust them, and when they are this young, it is very likely that there will be games where nothing goes right for them. They don't make the right choices, and those are the growing pains of playing with the youth. And we saw that because I think it was easily Irise's worst performance as a Real Madrid player. uh, then Comendador again came on, was too desperate to make impact, made some really, really terrible decisions, where she could have opted for an extra pass, or she could have looked for a teammate. She went for the goal. Everyone wanted to be, the hero that saves Real Madrid and wins them a point, but it doesn't work like that. And what I would have liked was a similar approach against that we saw against Sevilla. All the senior players starting and then getting subbed off and being replaced by some of the youngsters around the 60th minute mark. Because if Linda starts, if Redondo starts, they have a developing synergy now. They could have put this game to bed early on, and then the youngsters could have had some meaningful minutes and impact as well. But I think here, when we were chasing the game, throwing them all in the deep end with no organization, and also like for the youngsters as well, I think it is vital that they think that that we need to make an impact, otherwise we won't have that place in the team. So I think that also came from a place of desperation for the youngsters as well. They wanted to make an impact really bad. They wanted to be the one who scores the goal, who scores the equalizing goal, but that goal never came. So it was very disappointing, honestly, and it was very frustrating to watch because uh, after they scored the goal, Athletic like dropped into a back five, and then it was just a nightmare to deal with, because now you have all these players thrown onto the pitch. You have three, sort of quote unquote strikers on the pitch, two number 10s, and all of them trying to go for the ball, trying to make the same run, trying to score the goal. And it wasn't happening because there weren't enough counter movements elsewhere. So there weren't wide threats who were sort of trying to uh, expand the opposition backline, stretch them, and find those pocket of spaces, create those pocket of spaces rather. And we paid the price of that. So yeah, a very mixed bag start to the year, honestly. Like, did not like it at all. Um, Isa texted me after the game that this was Sara Ortega's first goal since December of 2024. So she hadn't scored in an entire year. And then we let her score as well. And it was a good finish. But yeah, I mean, it's frustrating to sort of drop points, especially when you see Barcelona and they are winning what, like 12-1 against Madrid CFF and all of that, scoring 7 goals in one half, an absolute absurd bonkers result. And then us dropping points, not just dropping point but losing to Athletic Club immediately after is not great for our hopes. And the worst part is we have been drawn against them in the quarterfinals of the Copa de la Reina. And then if we manage to win in the knockout rounds of the Champions League, we are again bound to face them. So we are destined to suffer. I think that is what I'm collecting from here. And this performance didn't really incite much confidence in me. What would you make of, Irisa's performance, and then all the youngsters, trying too hard to make a mark in this game, and hence us struggling.
Well, first of all, I didn't really have any complaints on Irune. Um, she wasn't really doing anything wrong. But aside from that, like Iris and Pau were a little too into it, like
Yeah.
especially Pau because she came on and she was okay, I came on and they scored during my time on, then I have to score and something. But that whole eagerness, I was like, this is Real Madrid and we had enough time to score. But the way we were playing during those 25 minutes after the goal, it didn't feel like this time we would be getting anything out of it. Like it just felt so empty. Like we had, I think, two free attempts on target, technically, like after that. But it felt so easy for Santana, you know? I don't know. Like it was like, okay, it's their day. It was meant to be their day, And yeah, it was a weird timing to let the youngsters take the wheel. Maybe this Saturday on against Levante would have been a better time, because that's also the game right before the Super Cup, so you'd expect heavy rotations, but in this game it wasn't really needed. As you said, it would have been better to do the Sevilla approach, but alas, it didn't go that way. And yeah, the dropping point is a little oopsie, But yeah, this is not the most dramatic thing we've done, not by far. So it's fine. We'll get through
The
it.
most the most damning thing for me in that was, like the collection of players that were on the pitch in the for the final
Mm,
15 minutes. I get it, like we aren't like two goals behind or anything that we are in desperate need of a goal. For the final 15 minutes, we had Paula Comendador playing as the right back,
yeah.
essentially, which is like, then nothing good is going to come from it. Like you can play Paula maybe wide for a while, you can play her on the wings maybe at best, but that is again like you either play her as the wide forward and allow her to cut in and allow her to score those goals, but you don't play her as the full back. You take off Shayla, you take off Eva as well. Eva, who could have slotted in at right back, and Shay could have been taken on for one of the strikers. But that is what, like, our right flank was not there. And then you had a striker playing right back. You had two other strikers on the pitch. You had two number 10s on the pitch, another midfielder who likes to join the attack, and then one midfielder who's returning after a while. So, it was a very, how do I say it? Like, it was a very unthought of, or a lineup that had zero thoughts on it. It was just like, okay, these are the players that can attack and score goals. Let's put them all on the pitch. And that just made it so much easier for Athletic to deal with, because they knew which players are going to do what. There wasn't any unpredictability. Nobody was like stretching that back line enough to, sort of open up any sort of windows for the other players to attack. And yeah, I mean, honestly, like, we did create enough chances to be able to, at least score once. And maybe if this game is like replayed 9-10 times, I think we probably win it 8 times. But it is one of those 2 times where we don't win, and we mm, play a very frustrating brand of football, especially in attack, especially in front of goal, shooting right in within reach for the goalkeeper, like not even testing them properly. Was very frustrating, honestly. And it doesn't leave us in a good spot, because when we are recording this, Barcelona are playing against Athletic, if I'm not wrong, Atleti,
Atletico, yeah.
and they are already 3-0 up. So it's not great. We are 10 points behind now with this result. So we, like, obviously, like, probably league did not have any hopes, but you have to still like keep believing maybe something happens. But it looks very unlikely. And the worst part is now this again like leaves Real Sociedad probably just 1 point behind us
Mm,
if they win their next game. So it's tricky. Although they've lost Edna Imade for the second half of the season, so that is going to be a difficult one to navigate. But we could have extended our lead on them with a win here. But yeah, unfortunately, we'll have to wait and see how things go. But yeah, I mean, pretty a mixed bag. Like Sevilla, we saw what we expected: the veterans starting and winning us the game, and then the youngsters playing their brand. And in the second one, we saw the exact opposite, us struggling. So hopefully, we see more of the Sevilla game in this year, and less of whatever happened against Athletic Club, because that shouldn't happen again. Like, it has been a theme sort of as well in some of the games where we have very frustrating performance in front of goal. That 20 game as well, if you remember. So, like, these bits need to be ironed out. And yeah, I mean, hopefully they are, as we enter the important part of the season now. Any concluding thoughts, Kanita? Because, like, I think this is probably it.
Yeah, we were just being possession FC in the Athletics game. That's all I wanted to add. We had more than 70% possession in the end, and what good does it make? They won, and yeah, just possession FC.
Yeah, there was one point where the stats on the screen said that we had some 140 passes and Athletic
Yes,
had some 47. And
24th minute. Yes,
yeah, and the passing accuracy was like we had some 92% passing accuracy and they had some 64.
yes,
So, like, uh we had the ball, but when we got in front of the goal, like, we did not manage to create. We did have enough chances, honestly, and maybe 8 times out of 10 we do go ahead. So, it might be a little result based analysis here, but these things also matter. Sometimes your youngsters will not perform at a consistent level that your experienced players can, and I think that is where you need to strike balance. It's great that the youngsters are getting the minutes, but it's also important that we don't sabotage uh, our own campaign, because we need points, we need regular wins in these games, so we can't sacrifice that. So hopefully that is fixed. Hopefully that these youngsters can win us games very soon. But yeah, I mean, this also, like, showed that there is room for improvement for all of them. And yeah, I mean, it will come with time. They are still very young, so hopefully. But yeah, that is about it for this pod. The first two games of 2026, comfortable win against Sevilla and loss against Athletic Club. Hopefully, after this, we just keep winning, even if it's against Barcelona. So let's hope for a fruitful 2026, and we will see you in the next one. Until then, a la Madrid.
Ala Madrid.